Time now to go to 3-down football. Everyone says that the season doesn't officially start until Labor Day. Well, we had one hell of a start to the season then, as Labor Day delivered in ways that only Labor Day can. Let's break it all down as we run through the biggest week of the CFL regular season. It was a wild weekend in the Canadian Football League as the Labor Day Classic lived up to its billing on more than one occasion. And it started on Sunday with the Riders taking on the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. And obviously, this game was insane. When you look at Saskatchewan taking a 14-point lead, feeling pretty good, Winnipeg airing it out downfield, getting a big touchdown. The Riders punt with their quarterback. Looks like they got a rouge, or looks like they got a safety. Only got a rouge. Winnipeg marches down, gets the touchdown. 2-point conversions intercepted, and back it goes. This game was just nuts. This was a wild, wild, wild football game. And so I do think when you look at assessing next week, because these two teams will play again in Winnipeg, I think it would be easy to say, well, Saskatchewan got lucky, right? Like they needed a big pick at the end. They needed a few things to go right, maybe a couple penalties that shouldn't have gone their way, whatever. Saskatchewan just squeaked this one out at home on Labor Day. And I just don't think that's the case. I feel like if you played that game out 10 times, A, that's the weirdest one, and B, Saskatchewan wins like 8 of them. I feel like the Riders were the better team. The front seven was so good at causing problems for Zach Collaros, taking Brady Oliveira just out of the game entirely. Dembski came up with some big plays, there's no doubt. But defensively, I feel like they did a great job of taking Winnipeg completely out of their game plan and really like throwing them off a bit. Now, Winnipeg was able to adjust, obviously. And then offensively for Saskatchewan, they scored 34 points. They only put up a couple hundred yards in the passing game because they got some points from other areas and everything like that. They had some issues protecting Trevor Harris. And the one critique I would give is it felt like the receivers had a difficult time getting open against this Winnipeg defense. I do think the Riders will be able to figure that out. I love that they showed at least a touch of creativity in the run game, and it wasn't just banging their heads against the wall up the middle the whole game, and actually using some stretch plays to the outside, using a little pre-snap motion to create at least a little bit of doubt on the defense, and being able to create some running lanes for their running back, AJ Ouellette. And so I just think that the issues that Saskatchewan had, they're going to be able to correct. And the issues that Winnipeg had, I don't know if Saskatchewan really was able to take advantage fully of it. So I still think when you look at this team and you look at this game, Saskatchewan still comes out on the better side, I think. And so I would have them favored going into the Banjo Bowl rematch coming up in Winnipeg in just a couple of days. Before we get to the rest of the Labor Day story, the games that actually happened on Labor Day, I do want to remind you, if you want to help support this show or just my cat's insatiable treat habit, you can with the tip jar. There is one in the link of the description on YouTube, or if you're listening in podcast form, it's there. For those on Kick and Twitch, it is available as a panel. So just click on that if you want to support. It's certainly not expected, definitely not required, but would greatly be appreciated. The other games in the Labor Day weekend, looking at the Toronto Argonauts, they're just not going away. And I have said, like, this is a team that is flawed. And it just seems like their way of dealing with the flaws is mass chaos with this club now. And just offensive football like you wouldn't believe, winging the ball all over the yard and just creating an absolutely chaotic atmosphere for 60 minutes and then hoping that they can come out of that scramble with a win. And it's a good way to do it when you have a roster that feels like it has a bit of a talent deficiency. Adding Polk, I think, helps out a lot. Arbuckle loves to throw contested catch balls, those 50-50 balls. Polk's really good at bringing them down. So it feels like a good match for these guys. So this makes some sense, actually, for the Argos, that maybe they can make a push here in this second half and get their way back into the playoff picture. They've certainly got their way back into the playoff picture. Now, for Hamilton, I do have some concerns because, like, the offense is obviously at a high level, but now the defense has shown a few times that they are unable to even just get a couple stops to help their quarterback and help their team come away with a victory. And this was a time to make up some ground. Toronto felt dead and gone. Montreal, with all the injuries they've had at quarterback, they don't feel like a threat. Hamilton should have been able to run away and hide. And instead, issues on the defensive side have really limited what this team has been able to do and leaves them in a spot for a dogfight in the last little bit of the season. And then the Calgary Stampeders, with just a dominant performance over the Edmonton Elks. That there isn't a whole lot there. Like, I would love to go super hot take and, well, actually, blah, 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 blah. This ain't it. Just a really strong, dynamic, terrifying, well-built football team. All phases of the game, great. There's your Stampeder summary. On the Edmonton side, this one's a setback for sure. They did everything they wanted to Cody Fajardo. Now, I will say, because one of my notes is, Trey Ford time. I don't think we're at that point. I think maybe you probably could have brought him in a little bit earlier in that game just to give a bit of a different look and give him some experience against a really good defense out in Calgary. Cody Fajardo still, like I said before with some of the NFL teams, he keeps the trains running on time. Like he is out there moving the ball really efficiently and helping this team play an actually high level of offense. It's just Calgary's that much better. And so that feels very defeatist to say, but I've said it about how Saskatchewan played against Calgary. I've said it about other teams as well. Calgary plays like that. There ain't a team in the CFL that's beating them. So I think that is one where you kind of just got to tip of the cap. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you next week. And then be very happy that we won't see you again for a little bit because it's just, they were just that good. So I don't think you can put it on Fajardo or anything. It is just the Stampeders are a better football team right now than the Edmonton Elks. So tough for Edmonton on that one. But plenty of more CFL coverage to come on the live stream and in podcast form throughout the week. We do have some wrestling talk coming up in a little bit as well. If you are here for the wrestling, I want to remind you that there is a podcast from Couch Potato Diary called The Living Room Lariat. I understand that not all wrestling fans are sports fans. So to sit through a bunch of football talk and baseball and all of that, it maybe isn't your cup of tea. So Living Room Lariat is where all the wrestling content is going to go. We'll still have wrestling on Couch Potato. If you like all the sports and wrestling too, it's going to be there. But if you only want the wrestling, all the stuff is going to go into a nice tidy podcast on Living Room Lariat, plus some bonus stuff that won't be heard on the original podcast. So check that out wherever you get your podcasts.